in the Democratic primary, you've got in the top 3 positions, depending on the poll, you got Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders. And when you compare either Biden versus Sanders, Biden versus Warren, one of the biggest out in front policy difference is what they want to do in terms of healthcare. And the news just a couple of days ago that a Biden-linked firm had been testing talking points to undermine support for Medicare for All. For someone like me who supports it, that's not what I want to see. So I'm curious about that. Do you think that strategically this is a good point of differentiation for Joe Biden? Is this how he brings his numbers back up since they've been sort of slowly dropping over the last week or two?
So Biden, I guess, is savvy enough to know that the only thing besides that Obama says nice things about him that he has going for him is that for a long time he was perceived as the most electable candidate. Now, the Democrats would say, well, all they want to do is beat Trump in the next election, so therefore they're going to elect the guy, nominate the guy who's most likely to be able to beat Trump. Now, the problem for him is that as he fades, his kind of sheen of electability fades with it. You know, it's kind of a self-fulfilling and a self-defeating prophecy, depending on the direction that your campaign is going. So if he no longer has that sheen of pure electability behind him because he's losing to Elizabeth Warren in the latest poll, for instance, then he has to try to say that his opponents are actually unelectable. And there is an entire class, a consulting class of Democrats who believe that Medicare for All is a disaster in a general election because they'll just run all these campaigns about how you're going to get kicked off your private insurance and you're going to be waiting in line in some Soviet hospital or whatever. So there is a consulting class that believes deeply that Medicare for All can be turned into an electability issue. And so that's what he seems to be trying to do, to say that, like, look, people don't want this Medicare for All. And if you nominate somebody who supports abolishing private health insurance, they will lose. We don't want to lose. It's too important. So go for me. That seems to be what's behind at least the strategy of that. Of course, people like Third Way that are funded by the health industry very much oppose Medicare for All as a policy.
Yeah, and look, I mean, in the last debate, we certainly saw some of these talking points being trotted out in what seems to me a far more aggressive fashion than they had been earlier in the campaign. And I know that just a couple days ago in Iowa, Biden said of Elizabeth Warren that she wants to raise Americans' taxes. Of course, the same exact talking point I'd expect if Jake Tapper was asking a question in a debate, ignoring overall cost and focusing on taxes. That was Biden's attack against her.
Right. So, Biden doesn't have an affirmative agenda. You can dig through everything that he's unveiled throughout his entire campaign, and there's nothing there. So it's all about going back to what things were like before, defending the gains that were made under Obama, and very modestly and carefully building on those gains. And so that's not much of an affirmative agenda. So he has to, try to trash or scare people away from what Warren and Sanders are running on, and the media loves it. Like it's kind of, I get in some ways it's nice that the media is so passionate about covering Medicare for All or talking about it in these debates finally. But on the other hand, you're like, really, we're going to spend 45 minutes talking about the existence of private insurance in a Medicare for All scheme that actually, like, nobody thinks Medicare for All, as Sanders has written it and Warren has co-sponsored it, is just going to sail through the Senate and the House of Representatives. Like, there's gonna be some role for private insurers in whatever comes out of Congress if Democrats are lucky enough to take Congress back. And so they're sort of debating this on a theoretical frame, and I think partly it's because the media thinks that it really does damage the left because they read the same polling that Third Way reads. So great, I'm glad they're talking so much about Medicare for All and private insurance, but they're doing it at the expense of climate change and a lot of other issues, and they're just constantly, like you said, trotting out these Republican talking points about raising taxes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, mentioning climate change, we're going to be closing the show talking about the new UN report on the oceans, and that could not have come out on a worse news day if it was going to get covered. It wasn't going to get covered anyway, but especially now. Ryan Grim, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, great to be here.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.